Have you ever wondered how life has a way of bringing people back together, even when their worlds seem galaxies apart? Sometimes, fate steps in to reconnect us with the past, challenging everything we thought we knew about love and happiness. This is the story of Adam, a self-made millionaire, and Emma, his childhood friend, who unexpectedly meet again after years apart. Adam's life appears flawless, a thriving empire, luxurious cars, and recognition in every corner of the business world. Yet, beneath the surface, he battles a loneliness he cannot admit. Emma, on the other hand, leads a humble life as a small-town schoolteacher. She finds joy in the simple things, the laughter of her students, the rustling of leaves in her garden, and the warmth of her tight-knit community. When Adam returns to their hometown for a high-profile deal, the last thing he expects is to bump into Emma. The encounter is both nostalgic and unsettling. Seeing her brings back memories of carefree days spent playing under the summer sun, and it stirs something within him, something that all his wealth and success have failed to provide. As the two reconnect, they quickly discover that while their paths have diverged, their bond remains intact. But with Adam's fast-paced, high-pressure life clashing against Emma's peaceful and grounded existence, they must confront a question. Can the simplicity of their past hold a place in the complexity of their present? We've all experienced moments when the past unexpectedly collides with the present, forcing us to reflect on who we are and what truly matters. Adam and Emma's story is a testament to how love, no matter how deeply buried, has the power to reignite when least expected. Adam Kingston was a name known in the world of high finance and luxury. At just 35, he had built an empire from the ground up, starting with a small tech startup that turned into a billion-dollar corporation. To the outside world, he was the epitome of success, a man with private jets, sprawling mansions, and a lifestyle most could only dream of. Yet, behind the facade of wealth, Adam was a man searching for something he couldn't quite define. In the bustling city where he lived, his days were a blur of meetings, mergers, and milestones. The penthouse he returned to every night was sleek and modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered a panoramic view of the glittering skyline. But no matter how extravagant his surroundings, Adam couldn't escape the nagging emptiness that gnawed at him. His life had become a series of transactions, profitable, yes, but utterly devoid of connection. Emma Carter, on the other hand, lived a life far removed from Adam's. She had stayed in the small town where they had grown up, teaching third grade at the local school. Her life was simple but fulfilling. She spent her mornings in the classroom, afternoons gardening, and evenings curled up with a book or chatting with her neighbors over freshly baked pie. Emma loved her community, the same one she and Adam had roamed as children. Though their lives had taken such different paths, Adam and Emma had shared a bond as kids. They grew up next door to each other, inseparable through their childhood years. From climbing trees to building forts and dreaming about the future, their friendship was the kind that felt unbreakable. But as they grew older, life pulled them apart. Adam's ambitions took him to the city, while Emma's heart remained rooted in their hometown. The moment Adam received a business proposal requiring him to visit his hometown, he hesitated. He hadn't returned in over a decade, too consumed by his rise to the top. But this deal was too lucrative to pass up. As he drove into the familiar streets of the town he'd left behind, memories flooded back, of running through meadows, of his parents' modest home, and of Emma's laughter echoing in the summer breeze. Emma was equally surprised when she saw Adam again. It happened on a quiet afternoon at the local coffee shop. She was balancing her mug and a stack of papers when she turned and collided with him. At first, she didn't recognize the sharply dressed man before her. But when their eyes met, something clicked. "Adam," she said, her voice a mix of shock and familiarity. "Emma," he replied, stunned to see the girl he used to know transformed into a woman whose warmth hadn't faded. As they sat down to catch up, their differences became immediately clear. Adam spoke of boardrooms and stock prices, while Emma shared stories of her students and the little joys of small-town life. Yet, beneath their contrasting experiences, there was an unspoken connection, a shared history that neither could ignore. Despite the ease of their initial conversation, the gap between their lives loomed large. Adam, accustomed to a fast-paced world of power and ambition, found Emma's quiet, grounded life almost foreign. Emma, in turn, struggled to reconcile the boy she'd once known with the man who now sat before her, polished and distant. The challenge was evident. They had to navigate the tension between the simplicity of their shared past and the complexity of their present. For Adam, being back in the town he had left behind forced him to confront questions he had long avoided. Was his success truly fulfilling? For Emma, Adam's return brought a whirlwind of emotions: nostalgia, curiosity, and a flicker of something she wasn't ready to name. As they parted ways that afternoon, neither could shake the feeling that their meeting was more than coincidence. It was the beginning of a journey that would challenge both of them to rediscover who they were and what they truly wanted. The day after their chance encounter, Adam found himself lingering in his old neighborhood, drawn to the memories of his childhood. He hadn't intended to stay long in town, but something about seeing Emma again had unsettled him. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about quarterly profits or corporate mergers. He was thinking about the simpler days when life was filled with laughter, not deadlines. Meanwhile, Emma tried to push the encounter out of her mind. She had students to teach, lessons to plan, and a garden to tend to. But no matter how busy she kept herself, she couldn't forget the way Adam had looked at her, as though seeing her brought him back to a place he hadn't visited in years. It stirred something in her too, though she was reluctant to admit it. One evening, Adam decided to visit the local park where he and Emma had spent countless afternoons as kids. To his surprise, he found her there, sitting on a bench with a book in her lap. The sight of her, so serene and content, made him hesitate. But before he could turn away, Emma noticed him. "Didn't expect to see you here," she said, closing her book and smiling warmly. "I wasn't sure I'd find anyone here," Adam replied, taking a seat beside her. "It's been a while since I came back." As they talked, the conversation flowed easily, touching on everything from their childhood escapades to how their lives had turned out. Adam found himself opening up in a way he hadn't in years. He told Emma about the pressures of his world, the loneliness that came with success, and the moments when he wondered if he had made the right choices. Emma listened intently, her empathy shining through. She shared her own struggles, her fear of change, the moments of doubt she faced as she tried to make a difference in her students' lives, and her lingering question of whether staying in their small town had been the right decision. Their bond deepened with each conversation, but it wasn't long before obstacles began to emerge. Adam's extended stay in town was raising questions among his business associates, who were growing impatient with his lack of focus. They expected him to close the deal and return to the city. Emma, too, felt conflicted. While she cherished the time they were spending together, she couldn't ignore the reality of their differences. One afternoon, Adam invited Emma to dinner at the town's only upscale restaurant. It was his way of blending their worlds, but it quickly became clear how out of place Emma felt. The waiters fawned over Adam, addressing him with a level of formality that made Emma uneasy. When Adam casually ordered a bottle of wine that cost more than her monthly grocery bill, she couldn't help but feel the weight of their contrasting lifestyles. "This isn't really my scene," she admitted, her voice tinged with discomfort. Adam frowned, realizing his mistake. "I just wanted to do something nice for you," he said. Emma sighed, her gaze softening. "I appreciate it, Adam. I do. But this isn't me. And I don't think it's you either, not really." Her words struck a chord. For the first time, Adam began to question whether the life he had built truly reflected who he was, or if it was merely the image he thought he needed to project. Despite the tension, Adam refused to give up. He began seeking ways to bridge the gap between their worlds. He joined Emma on her morning walks, visited her classroom to meet her students, and even helped her plant flowers in her garden. These small, ordinary moments brought him a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. But their journey wasn't without challenges. Adam's business deal in town hit a snag, requiring his full attention. Emma, meanwhile, struggled with the fear that their connection was temporary, a fleeting moment in Adam's fast-paced life. One evening, as they sat together on Emma's porch, Adam broke the silence. "I know this isn't easy," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "But being here, with you, feels right. It's the first time in a long time I felt like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Emma looked at him, her heart torn between hope and caution. I want to believe that, Adam. But what happens when you go back to your world? What happens to us then? Adam didn't have an answer, not yet. But in that moment, he made a silent promise to himself. He wasn't going to let Emma slip away, no matter how difficult the road ahead might be. Their journey had only just begun, and while the path was uncertain, one thing was clear. Adam was willing to fight for a love that reminded him of who he truly was. The following weeks were a whirlwind of emotions for both Adam and Emma. As their connection deepened, so did the challenges they faced. Adam's business obligations began to press down on him, with phone calls and emails demanding his attention at all hours. Emma, too, found herself grappling with the uncertainty of their relationship. She couldn't shake the fear that Adam's stay in their small town was temporary, a brief detour before he returned to his high-powered world. The catalyst for their turning point came on a Friday evening. The town was hosting its annual fall festival, a beloved tradition that brought everyone together. Emma had invited Adam to join her, hoping to share a piece of her world with him. He agreed, eager to experience the simplicity and warmth that defined her life. The festival was a vibrant display of community spirit, with twinkling lights, laughter, and the aroma of homemade pies filling the air. Children darted between game booths, couples danced to live music, and neighbors greeted one another with genuine smiles. For Emma, it was a night of pure joy. For Adam, it was a stark contrast to the glamorous but impersonal events he was used to attending. As they wandered through the festival together, Emma introduced Adam to her friends and colleagues. Though polite, many of them regarded him with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. To them, Adam was an outsider, someone whose life seemed too far removed from their own. The moment that changed everything came when Emma overheard a conversation between two of her friends. They didn't realize she was within earshot as they whispered about Adam. "He doesn't belong here," one of them said. "He's just passing through. She's going to get hurt." Emma's heart sank. Though she tried to brush off their words, they struck a nerve. Was she setting herself up for heartbreak? Later that night, as she and Adam sat on a hay bale overlooking the festival, Emma finally voiced her fears. "Adam," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "what are we doing here? This, us, feels so real, but I can't help wondering if it's just a moment. A fleeting memory you'll carry back to the city." Adam turned to her, his expression serious. "Emma, you mean more to me than just a memory. Being here with you has made me realize how much I've been missing. But I know I've made mistakes. I've been so focused on building my life that I forgot to live it." Emma looked at him, her eyes filled with both hope and doubt. "I don't need grand gestures or promises, Adam. I just need to know that you're willing to meet me halfway, that you're not going to leave the moment things get hard." Her words hung in the air, a challenge that Adam couldn't ignore. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of a choice that wasn't about money or power but about love and meaning. The turning point came the next day when Adam received an urgent call from his company. A major deal was on the line, and his presence in the city was required immediately. It was a test of everything he had come to value in the past few weeks. Standing at the crossroads, Adam realized he couldn't keep living the way he had been. He needed to decide whether to continue chasing the life he had built or to embrace the possibility of something more meaningful with Emma. Instead of boarding the private jet waiting for him, Adam made a bold decision. He called his business partner and delegated the deal, something he had never done before. His voice was steady as he said, "If this company can't function without me for a few days, then I've built it wrong. I need to be here right now." Emma, unaware of Adam's decision, spent the afternoon tending to her garden, trying to distract herself from the uncertainty. When she heard a knock at her door, she was surprised to see Adam standing there, a bouquet of wildflowers in his hand. "Emma," he said, his voice filled with determination, "I'm not going anywhere. I've spent my whole life chasing success, but none of it matters if I don't have someone to share it with. You've reminded me of what it feels like to be grounded, to be happy, and I don't want to lose that." Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she stepped closer to him. "I don't need you to give up your life, Adam. I just need to know that there's room for me in it." "There is," he said without hesitation. But I need your world too. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm becoming the person I was always meant to be. And that's because of you. Their conversation marked a turning point not only in their relationship but also in their individual lives. Adam began to rethink his priorities, shifting his focus from relentless ambition to building a life that included balance and connection. Emma, in turn, found the courage to embrace the unknown, trusting that their love was worth the risk. That night, as they sat together under the stars, it was clear that their journey was far from over. But for the first time, they both felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. The days that followed were filled with adjustments and compromises as Adam and Emma began navigating their new reality. It wasn't easy. They were two people from vastly different worlds, each with their own routines, expectations, and fears. But they were determined to make it work, even if it meant confronting challenges neither of them had anticipated. For Adam, the biggest hurdle was redefining his relationship with his career. He had spent years building his company, pouring every ounce of energy into ensuring its success. Walking away from that level of control, even temporarily, was an unfamiliar and uncomfortable experience. But he knew that if he wanted to be with Emma, he couldn't let his work consume him the way it always had. To test the waters, Adam made a bold decision. He moved his meetings to virtual calls and set clear boundaries with his team. No more late-night emails or weekend conferences. It wasn't an overnight transformation, and there were times when he felt the pull of his old habits. But every time he faltered, he reminded himself why he was doing this, why Emma was worth it. For Emma, the challenge was learning to trust that Adam's intentions were genuine. While she cherished the time they spent together, she couldn't help but worry that their differences might eventually drive them apart. Would Adam grow restless in their small town? Would he miss the excitement and glamour of his city life? One afternoon, as they worked together in her garden, Emma decided to voice her concerns. Adam, she began hesitantly, do you ever feel like you're giving up too much to be here? Like you're sacrificing the life you've worked so hard to build? Adam paused, wiping the dirt from his hands as he turned to face her. I won't lie, Emma. It's an adjustment. But the truth is, for a long time, I've been chasing something I couldn't even define. Success, power, recognition, none of it ever felt like enough. Being here with you has made me realize that what I've been missing isn't something I can buy or achieve. It's connection. It's love. And that's worth more to me than anything I've built. Emma's heart swelled at his words, but she still couldn't shake the voice in the back of her mind whispering, what if this isn't enough for him? Their progress was tested one evening when Adam received an invitation to a high-profile event in the city, a gala honoring the most influential entrepreneurs of the year. It was a prestigious affair, and his absence would be noticed. Adam hesitated, torn between his past and his present. Emma encouraged him to go, knowing how much it meant to him. You don't have to prove anything to me, Adam, she said gently. If this is important to you, then you should be there. But Adam surprised her by declining the invitation. It is important, he admitted, but it's not as important as what we're building here. I've spent years letting events like that define me. I don't want to be that person anymore. His decision was a turning point for Emma, solidifying her trust in him and their relationship. Still, not everyone in Adam's life was as supportive of his choices. His business partner, Nathan, voiced his concerns during a heated phone call. You're throwing everything away for what? A quiet life in some tiny town? Nathan scoffed. This isn't you, Adam. No, Adam replied firmly. It wasn't me, but maybe it is now. I'm not abandoning the company, Nathan. I'm just learning how to live a life that isn't all about work. If that's a problem for you, then maybe it's time we rethink our partnership. Nathan was taken aback by Adam's resolve. Though skeptical, he eventually conceded, realizing that Adam wasn't the same man he used to be. For Emma, the turning point came when she introduced Adam to her students. Watching him interact with the children, helping them with their art projects, listening to their stories, and even laughing at their silly jokes, Emma saw a side of Adam that she hadn't seen before. He wasn't just the ambitious businessman she had grown up with. He was someone who genuinely cared, someone who was willing to slow down and appreciate the little things. As weeks turned into months, Adam and Emma found their rhythm. They celebrated small victories, like Adam negotiating a major deal without leaving town or Emma trusting Adam to stay true to his promises. They faced setbacks too, but each challenge only brought them closer together. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was built on a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and a willingness to grow together. Adam learned to appreciate the quiet beauty of Emma's world, while Emma discovered that she could dream bigger than she ever had before. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Adam took Emma's hand in his. "I used to think that being a millionaire meant having it all," he said, "but I was wrong. None of it means anything without someone to share it with. You've shown me what it really means to have everything." Emma smiled, squeezing his hand. "And you've shown me that it's okay to take risks, to let someone in, even when it's scary." Their journey wasn't over, but in that moment, they both knew they were exactly where they were meant to be. Together, they had found something far more valuable than wealth or success. They had found a love that grounded them, challenged them, and made them better. Months later, life in the small town had settled into a steady, fulfilling rhythm for Adam and Emma. The once uncertain dynamic between them had evolved into a partnership rooted in trust, love, and a mutual appreciation for the life they were building together. Adam was still managing his business, but with a more balanced approach, while Emma continued to pour her heart into her work as a teacher, her days filled with laughter and creativity. The turning point in their relationship wasn't just about choosing each other. It was about transforming how they approached their own lives. Adam had learned to embrace the simplicity and joy that Emma's world offered, and Emma had discovered the courage to dream bigger, knowing she had someone by her side who supported her every step of the way. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves painted the town in vibrant shades of orange and gold, Adam surprised Emma with a small gathering of their closest friends and family at the town square. He had organized the event to celebrate their journey together, a tribute to the life they had found and the love they had nurtured. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Adam took Emma's hand and led her to the center of the square. With a deep breath, he spoke from the heart. "Emma," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "you've changed my life in ways I never thought possible. You've shown me the beauty in slowing down, in appreciating the little things, and in opening my heart to love. I thought I knew what happiness was, but you've taught me what it truly means. And I can't imagine my life without you in it." Emma's eyes glistened with tears as Adam reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Dropping to one knee, he opened it to reveal a delicate ring. A perfect blend of elegance and simplicity, just like Emma. "Will you marry me?" Adam asked, his voice trembling slightly as he waited for her response. Emma's heart swelled with joy as she nodded, a radiant smile lighting up her face. "Yes, Adam," she said, her voice filled with certainty. "1,000 times, yes." The crowd erupted in cheers, their friends and family rushing forward to congratulate them. In that moment, surrounded by the people they loved, Adam and Emma felt a profound sense of gratitude, not just for each other but for the journey that had brought them to this point. Their story was a testament to the power of love, growth, and compromise. Adam had learned to let go of the relentless pursuit of success that had defined his life, finding fulfillment in the quiet moments he shared with Emma. Emma, in turn, had discovered the strength to take risks, to open her heart, and to embrace the possibility of a future she had once been too afraid to imagine. In the weeks that followed, Adam and Emma worked together to plan their wedding, a celebration that would blend the charm of Emma's small-town roots with the sophistication of Adam's city life. It was a reflection of their journey, a union of two worlds that had once seemed so far apart. Looking back on everything they had overcome, Adam often marveled at how far he had come. The man who had once measured his worth in dollars and achievements now found his greatest joy in the laughter they shared, the meals they cooked together, and the quiet evenings spent beneath the stars. Emma, too, felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had always believed in the power of love and connection, but being with Adam had shown her that it was possible to build a life that honored both her dreams and her heart. As they stood on the porch of their cozy home one evening, watching the first snowflakes of winter drift to the ground, Adam wrapped his arms around Emma and held her close. I used to think being a millionaire meant having it all, he said softly. But now I know that the real wealth in life is having someone who sees you, supports you, and loves you for who you are. Emma smiled, resting her head against his chest. And I used to think that taking risks was too scary, she replied. But you've shown me that the best things in life come when you're willing to embrace the unknown. Their journey wasn't perfect, and there would undoubtedly be challenges ahead. But they were ready to face them together, knowing that their love was strong enough to withstand anything. As the snow continued to fall, blanketing the town in a peaceful hush, Adam and Emma stood side by side, their hearts full of hope and gratitude. They had found their way back to each other, and in doing so, they had discovered a love that was richer and more enduring than anything they could have ever imagined.